The Cheeseboy 628 Show, starring Cheeseboy 628.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Cheeseboy 628 here today, giving you another Theory Thursday, and I am not alone today to discuss my theory today, because I have my buddy ByFee.
What is going on, everybody?
That's right, so we have a proposed theory for you today. Explain to them, ByFee.
I, for one, believe, and I've seen a couple of the discussions about this, I believe that there are going to be 3 new pokes added to the UU tier that may be surprising to you. And that includes Hippowdon, Ninetales, and Politoed, the 3 weather pokes.
Yes, not only will they be seen in UU, but with their weather-inducing abilities.
Yes, I believe Sandstream, Drought, and Drizzle will be seen in UU under certain conditions. There are a few shaky situations, but nonetheless, I do believe they will all be sent down to UU.
Alright, so why don't we start with Rain?
Well, Rain got a huge nerf, as you know. Rain really only boosts the power of water moves with a few other side effects, but mainly it's, boosts the power of water moves. And with Rain, even with the ability to make it last 8 turns, there's really not much you can do with it. And overall, in OU, the reason Rain was so popular is because it just synergized so well. The people who abused the Rain all worked well together. Now with the OU tier all over the place, there's not too many, just overall, Rain isn't that great anymore with now that it's not in limited turns. On top of that, Politoed has very, very mediocre stats. Its special defense stat is alright, it's nothing to write home about. So overall, by itself, without Drizzle, it's a terrible, it'd probably be NU. And with the only reason it's up there is because of Drizzle. That being said, with the tiers ruling, you have to look at, will Politoed be overpowered in the UU tier? Or will Rain be overpowered in the UU tier? That being said, I say no, for this reason. Looking at it, the few pokes that would really abuse it would be Azumarill, a defensive Blastoise with Rain Dish, and Kingdra. I think it's safe to say, and I think Cheese will agree with me, I think it's safe to say Azumarill is going to OU this generation.
Sure.
And I believe Kingdra will be going to OU just because of the critical hit set. I don't really know what the official name for that is, what people are calling it.
Sniper.
Yeah, the Sniper and, the Swift Swim combo.
Yeah, with Focus Energy. Oh, are you discussing...
Overall, yeah, the Focus Energy thing.
Yeah.
Essentially, for those you don't know, there's a way to make it Kingdra gets critical hits every single turn. And combo that with Swift Swim.
To be fair, though, it could still get critical hits every time. It's just its abilities. I believe its ability is called Sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would power its critical hits even more from 1.5 to 2.25. That's why critical hits are doing so much from Kingdra.
That is very true.
Yeah, if it had Sniper, or if it had Swift Swim instead of Sniper, the critical hits would be doing less. So it'd be more manageable, but still a fairly broken concept.
I do agree with that, but overall, if Swift Swim is banned, comboed with Drizzle this generation, I don't think it will, because Rain is already kind of bad this generation. I don't think they'd take away one of its main weapons. I think if Kingdra gets moved to OU, then I think it's safe to say Politoed will go to UU. However, if Kingdra stays in UU, things might get a bit tricky, because a Swift Swim Kingdra, even without the critical hit, is still really good.
Yes.
You can throw a choice specs on it with Swift Swim, and it annihilates the tier. So that's my only concern, the Kingdra. And Blastoise, I mean, we've seen Tentacruel with the Rain Dish. It's not overpowered. So I don't think Blastoise will be abusing it. If its Mega is allowed in UU, that's another story. But overall, I think Kingdra is the only thing stopping Politoed from going to UU.
Certainly. Alright, so how about we discuss Sun?
Sun is the shakiest of the three. Ninetales is in the same area that Politoed is. Its stats are bad. It's got great base 100 speed, but other than that, it would mainly be probably NU or RU without that ability.
Yes.
Same thing applies. You have to look at whether or not the UU tier will accept the Sun. And my answer to that is yes, but not very well. If Ninetales were to go to UU, it would be one of the best strats, simply because Darmanitan. Choice Banded Darmanitan with Sheer Force, Adamant, almost one-shots a max defense Blastoise in the Sun, which is really the only counter to Darmanitan. I think Darmanitan in the Sun is a bit too good for UU. You could even throw a Choice Scarf on it and it would still wreak havoc. The other thing is Victini. Victini alone was being suspect tested to go to OU. Under the Sun, V-Creates are going to do that much more. So I think Sun teams in OU, or UU, my apologies, would be a bit good. That being said, those are really the only two pokes who abuse it. You could argue Arcanine does, but why would you use Arcanine when you can use somebody like Darmanitan or Victini? With the exception of E-Speed, yes, but that doesn't help in the Sun. Another thing is if Mega Houndoom is in UU. I've heard people think that. So there are really only a couple threats in the UU that would make Sun. That being said, there's not a lot of counters to those things. However, it's not like there's 5 or 6 pokes that will abuse the Sun. There's really only 3, maybe 4. I don't know if you count Rotom Heat as abusing it, but I think it definitely is manageable. It's just you would really have to watch out.
I definitely agree. From 5th gen, Sun was easily one of my favorite weathers to use, so I definitely know a lot about team building when it comes to Sun, and I know that there is no way you can... It's really unrealistic to create a hyper offense Sun team, especially in 5th gen. You definitely need support. You need pokes that can counter other weathers. You need pokes that are able to spin away hazards, because definitely Sun does not appreciate it, much like Hail. But of course, Sun is slightly more usable with a couple more buffs compared to Hail. And I know that once you get a fairly threatening Sun team, you're only going to have 2, maybe 3 threats that could benefit from the Sun.
Yeah, Chandelure is definitely one of them that I forgot about. But I mean, overall, like he said, I kind of agree, I kind of don't. I think a lot of Sun teams will be hyper offense in UU, because all the defensive threats really don't take fire moves that well. The only one is Blastoise. He's not even that bulky. I mean, he's got decent base 100 defense, but a mediocre 79 HP. So overall, I do think Sun would be very dangerous. But then again, if Politoed or, Sand gets in, it'd be just like OU. It'd be weather versus weather. So I don't think it'd be overpowered in the end. But definitely, this would rely on other pokes more so. I think if Politoed went, I think Ninetales could come with it easily. But if only Ninetales went, I think it would be somewhat of a problem. So Sun team is kind of, I'm on the fence about that.
Sure, definitely. So let's discuss Sand now. Hippowdon.
Hippowdon is different than Politoed and Ninetales. Hippowdon has decent stats. Without it, it would probably be in UU without its Sand. It's got base 108 HP with really good base 118 defense. It's got a decent typing being ground, and with that 102 or 112 attack stat, and with Slack Off as recovery, as well as Stone Edge, Whirlwind, it's a great poke overall.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Being a weather inducer that has recovery is extremely rare. So
Very
it's
good.
very nice.
Very good. However, I think it's safe to say it's outclassed by Tyranitar because it doesn't get the sand defensive boost. Only rock types get that. So looking at UU, if Hippowdon went to UU, it would definitely be seen a lot. On every team, not really, because there are still, threats in the UU tier that could knock it out. There's not too many, and Cheese actually came up with this point. The only poke in the UU tier that abuses the sand is really Rhyperior. He's the only rock type in UU that would abuse it. There are a couple in RU that could maybe make its way up, like Crustle and, Mega Aerodactyl, Archeops, but that's another theory for another time. Right now, there are a lot of very good ground types and steel types. Very good. And I think sand teams would be very viable, if not one of the best teams you could have in UU. Overpowered? I don't think so, but it would be pretty good. I think it all comes down to whether or not, Cheese, would you like to see weather in UU? Or would you like to keep weather to just OU and keep UU the, crazy tier that it is already?
I think it would be nice to see some weather in UU. It would be able to get some pokes that won't necessarily receive justice in OU to actually shine a little bit in UU, and not too much, which is why a tier system is so great in the first place.
For sure. I've heard another thing that is obvious for another theory, but a lot of people want the borderline tier to expand through all the weathers and that. I could see that happening. I don't see a point in that. But overall, I do think it would fit well in UU. And if that's the case, I think UU would almost become the new OU, in a sense. And OU would kind of become Ubers a little bit. Because as of right now, you just see the same pokes in OU.
Absolutely.
The thing about UU is it's so diverse. There are so many threats. It's not an offensive tier. It's not a defensive tier. It's such a good tier, and adding weather into it would just, make it that much more threatening. Because every poke in UU right now is a threat. OU, not so much. I mean, we have pokes like Ninetales and Politoed who are only seen on once every 10 teams. When it comes to UU, there are pokes you see, every poke can make every team.
Definitely.
That's how diverse the tier is. So I think weather could easily be in UU.
Yep, I'm looking forward to some tiers very soon because OU, let's face it, is starting to get relatively stale with the same pokes over and over again. Yep, and I want to see some pokes see some justice.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That's right. So that would be our theory for today. ByFee, you have anything else to add?
No, just let us know what you think in the comments. It would be awesome to get everyone else's opinion on this.
Absolutely.
And have a great new year, guys.
Yep, let us know what you would like to see next week, and thank you all for watching. Like, comment, sub, and until later, peace.